Because of the limited screen real estate that you have on most mobile devices, it's often helpful to surface certain actions the user can take through a menu. And there are a couple of different types of menus in Android. There's an options menu and a context menu. So the quickest way to understand that is to actually just look at an example. So I'm in the emulator, I'm going to go to the app drawer. I'm just going to go to the built-in contacts application. So here we have some options. I can go to these different tabs, but if I hit the menu key, we now can see this menu pops up, and this is an options menu. So again, it hides certain functionality until you hit the menu key and then brings up this menu with different options which you can select. And that's what we're going to create now. So I'm going to go over to Eclipse. I've just created a blank project called Options Menu. So there are a couple of different ways that you can create menus. First, you can do it directly in your Java code, or you can create a menu in XML. And again, the preferred method is to create your menus in XML because it's better to create visual things there to get a better separation between your visual code and your regular Java code. So I'm going to create a new Android XML file, and I'm just going to call this mymenu.xml. This is going to be of type menu, and we'll click Finish. So now you can see it's created a new menu file, and it's also created a new folder called Menu, which is in our Resources directory. Okay, so to add new items to our menu is really easy. We just create an item tag, and then we want to give it an ID. So we want to set the ID property. Now, since we're going to be adding a new ID here, we need to use the @+ syntax. So @+ ID / and then whatever ID we want. And I'm just going to call it item 1. So then the next thing we want is, what do we want it to say in the menu when we launch it? So to do that, we set the Android title property, and I'm just going to call it option 1. We can also include an icon. In fact, most menus are going to have an icon in addition to the text. So when we went over the movie about creating icons, you remember that there were some templates that you could download to help you create all different types of icons in Android. But for now, we can just use some of the built-in icons that come with the operating system. So I'm just going to set the Android icon property equal to, now we're going to use one of the built-in Android icons. So we're going to say @Android : drawable / and then I'm just going to use the compass icon for this. So it's IC_menu_compass. So you're probably wondering, okay, how did you find out that there was a built-in icon with this name? Well, this is where we can actually go into the Android class files here. So if I twirl this down, go into the Android jar file, scroll all the way down to Resources, and now I can go into, let's say, the drawable HDPI folder. And now here are all the PNG files for everything that comes with Android. And if I come down, we can see anything with an IC prefix. These are icons. And what I specifically want are the menu icons. So IC_menu. And here we can see all of the built-in ones. So if you're looking for some examples, or more importantly, if you're creating an app, you should look to see if a default one exists, because you probably want to use that because that's what people are used to on the system. So anyway, helpful to look through there to find out what the resources are that you can use. Okay, I'm going to create a second item in my options menu. For the ID, I'm going to change this to item 2 because it has to have a unique ID. And I'm just going to change this to option 2. And for this one, I'm going to use the built-in icon IC menu call. Okay, so now we've created this menu. Now we need to actually apply it to our activity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into our Java code, into our main.java. And what I need to do is I need to respond to one of the override functions called onCreateOptionsMenu. So I'm going to come under on create. I'm just going to start writing that on create, and there it is. Now it will create that override function. And what this does is, this is called right when it's about to create an options menu. And here what we can do is we need to create our options menu from that XML file. So to do that, we need to get the menu inflator service, which is actually going to inflate that XML file into something that can be used. So we're going to create an instance of menu inflator, and I'll just call it inflator. And then we just want to get menu inflator, which gets us the menu inflator for this activity. So now we want to inflate that menu XML file that we created. So inflator.inflate, and we want to give the menu. So we want to go r.menu.myMenu. And then the menu that we want to use is this parameter that gets sent. So we want to leave that as menu. For this, we can actually just return true. So now this will get our options menu to show. So we can test this. Let's go ahead and launch it and bring up the emulator. We haven't done anything special with this activity. It's just the standard hello world. But when we hit menu, we can see now our options menu comes up, and we can see there's the compass icon and there's the call icon. So we have option 1 and we have option 2. So now if we want to take this a little further, I mean, obviously it's pointless to have an options menu. When you click on one of the options, it does nothing. So now we need to override another method, which is on options item selected. Okay, so that's another overrided function that we're creating. Now we just simply want to test which item was actually clicked on. So we can say if item, which is the item that gets sent to this function, get item ID is equal to, and now we can test for each individual item. So we can say r.id, and there's item 1. If the option that was clicked on is item 1, and let's just log something to logcat. So we'll do that, and we'll just call the tag option, and we'll say option 1 was clicked. And we just need to import log here. So let's run it now, and we'll go to DDMS so that we can check out logcat. And let's go to the emulator. So here's our activity. We'll click menu to go to the options menu, and then we'll click this, and we can see in logcat we have option 1 was clicked. So that's essentially how you handle it. Here we have 2 options items. No matter how many you have, you basically come into this and you check the item ID and then do what you want to happen when that certain options menu is clicked. So that's the basics of creating an options menu again, and you can create any number of items. In fact, you can nest items in one another to really make use of the limited space that you have on a mobile device.